Hello everyone, it's me. You probably know me from my channel, but right now I'm here to talk about Tyrannosaurus. In this video, we will look at a fight between two Tyrannosaurs. This is the first time in history that two of them have fought each other. And remember, they are fighting over their territory. As we can see, they're sizing each other up. Now, Tyrannosaurus were not only apex predators, but also scavengers, meaning that they would feed on dead animals. But this was mostly when there was no prey around. But if there was prey around, then they would hunt it. So basically, they were hypercarnivores. They would eat anything they could get their hands on, whether it was alive or dead. So they are very similar to hyenas. If we go back to the dinosaurs, the reason why they are fighting is because one of them has entered the other one's territory. And as we can see, they are doing the famous dino dance. This is how they attract females. And also if they're rivals, they will do this to scare the other one off. The one who backs down is the one who loses the fight. In this case, both of them will lose because no one will be able to attract a female when they are in such bad shape. One thing I like about these two rivals is that they're equal in size and strength, so it's not like one of them has an advantage over the other. Remember, Tyrannosaurus females were just as big and strong as males. There wasn't really a difference. And even the T-Rex males weren't that much bigger than each other. For example, Scotty the T-Rex from Jurassic World. He was a male, but he wasn't that much bigger than the other ones. So yeah, there really wasn't a difference between them. Now, sometimes they might fight over food or females, but most likely it's going to be over territory. As we can see, they're taking turns biting each other's neck and trying to gouge out each other's eyes. But this isn't really working because they can't actually damage the other one. Their jaws are too strong. Even if they manage to bite the other one's eye out, the other one won't feel anything because of the thickness of their skull. The best way to kill a dinosaur was to stab him in the brain, just like what happened to the Triceratops in the first Jurassic Park movie. But of course, this is easier said than done. The dinosaurs had very thick skulls, so you would need a very sharp and long object to stab them in the brain. And as we can see, they're attacking each other with their strongest weapon, their jaws. They are very similar to modern-day crocodiles and alligators. They mostly use their jaws to attack their prey. They don't really have any other weapons. So if they lose their jaws, then they are pretty much screwed. Well, except for the bird dinosaurs. They have wings, so they can fly away. Now, you might think that the herbivores had it easy, but this wasn't really true. The herbivores in the late Cretaceous period had to watch out for relatives of ankylosaurs. These dinosaurs were called Boreopelta. It lived in the same area as Ankylosaurus, but it preferred to live more towards the north. It was the same size as Ankylosaurus, and it also had armor, so it was definitely no easy feat to take one of them down. It had a very thick hide, and it was covered in small armor plates, and some of the species were literally covered in spikes. So if you managed to get past the armor, then you would still have to deal with its powerful tail. It could easily sweep you off your feet and cause some serious damage. Plus, they had very strong legs. They could kick you very hard and break some bones. And also, they weren't slow like most people think. They were very fast and agile. It was definitely not worth trying to take one of these guys down. Even though they were very well protected, they still had weak spots. Just like the Ankylosaurus, they had armor that covered their entire body, but it was a bit thinner than the Ankylosaurus. But if you managed to get through the armor, then you would find their underbelly. And this is where they had no protection whatsoever. If you attacked them there, then you would be able to seriously injure them. But the good thing about them is that they didn't have any natural enemies, so they didn't really have to worry about being taken down by something else. They were most likely taken down by smaller groups of predators, but there wasn't really anything that could take down an adult. Maybe a group of raptors could do it, but besides that, nothing else. Tyrannosaurus's teeth were very strong. They could easily pierce the skin of any dinosaur. Even the thickest skinned dinosaurs couldn't resist those jaws. They were very powerful and they could open up very wide. So if they clamped down on something, then it wasn't going anywhere. But even though they were very powerful, they were also very fragile. It didn't take much force to break them. All you needed to do was put enough pressure on them and they would snap. So if you were fighting a Tyrannosaurus, you had to be careful not to get bitten, because once you did, it was game over. So now we can see that they are taking turns biting each other's head. This is not a smart idea because they could easily take each other's eye out or even bite off the top of their head. So why don't they do this? Well, it's because they don't really want to risk it. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was very smart for a dinosaur. They knew where their weak spots were and they knew how to protect them. They didn't want to end up getting bitten in the neck or in the belly, so they always kept those areas protected. When they were fighting, they would always try to stay behind the other one so they wouldn't expose their weak spots. So even though they could take each other's eye out, they never did it because they knew that the other one could do the same thing to them. The one who gets tired first is going to lose the fight. But the question is, who is going to tire out first? They're both equally matched, so it should be a pretty fair fight. But I think the one who tires out first is going to be the one on the left. That's just my opinion though. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win this fight? I think it's going to end soon because neither one of them wants to continue fighting. They've both lost a lot of blood and they're both exhausted. They don't want to get hurt anymore, so they're calling it quits. They're backing away from each other and they're showing each other their backs. This is basically a sign of submission. They don't want to fight anymore, so they're giving up. This is probably the smartest thing to do. They've both lost a lot of energy and they're both bleeding. so it's best to just call it quits and save their strength for another day. Fighting when you're already exhausted is not a good idea. You could seriously injure yourself and end up losing the fight, even if you were winning before. So it's always better to just back off and live to fight another day. Both of them have suffered serious injuries. They have deep bite marks all over their bodies, and they're both bleeding a lot. This is not looking good for either one of them. They're both very weak and they're both very tired. This is definitely not going to end well for either one of them. They both going to lose a lot of weight because of this fight, and they both going to have to spend a lot of time recovering. This is definitely not what they wanted, but sometimes you just can't avoid these things. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button because it really helps us grow.